Hello friends, welcome back to our channel NEET Biology Expert. I am Dr. Parveen. In this lecture series, we are studying Class 12 Biology, Chapter Reproductive Health. In this particular lesson, we are going to study a new topic, that is sexually transmitted diseases. So what are sexually transmitted diseases? How they spread? What are the different types of sexually transmitted diseases? What are its symptoms and how to prevent them and treat them? So these are the things we are going to study one by one in detail. So in this particular lesson, we are going to study about the introduction for sexually transmitted diseases. So what is sexually transmitted diseases? In short form, we call this as STD. STD means sexually transmitted diseases. So what is the definition for this? These are the diseases which are transmitted through sexual intercourse. Sexual intercourse means through coitus. See, diseases, there are different routes of spread of diseases. Transmission are of different types. So, airborne diseases, food and waterborne diseases, and vector-borne diseases, zoonotic diseases, that means diseases which spread through animals. So, like that. Here, one group of diseases are called as sexually transmitted diseases. They mainly spread through sexual intercourse. Okay. So there are different terminology for the same. That means sexually transmitted infections, STI, venereal diseases, VD, reproductive tract infections, RTI. All these things, they denote the same thing, that is sexually transmitted infections or STI. Okay. So let us see what are the causative agents for this sexually transmitted infections. That means the pathogens causing the sexually transmitted diseases. So what is a pathogen? Pathogen means disease causing agent. Disease causing agents are called as pathogen, right? So mostly 99% disease causing agents are whom? Microorganisms. Yes, right. So here we have four different group of microorganisms which causes this STI. They are bacteria, viruses, fungi and protozoa. So these are the major four groups of microorganisms, right? So all these organisms, they cause the sexually transmitted infections. Okay. Let us see some examples for the different groups of organisms and its diseases. So first one is bacterial infections. Example are gonorrhea, syphilis, chancroid, chlamydiasis, lymphogranuloma venereal. Okay. So here gonorrhea is a bacterial disease caused by the bacteria Neisseria gonorrhoeae. Neisseria is the genus. Okay. Then syphilis is an infection caused by the bacteria Treponema pallidum. Treponema pallidum, it causes the disease syphilis. Chancroid is also caused by Treponema pallidum. Okay. Chlamydiasis and lymphogranuloma venereum. These are the two different infections caused by the same agent. So the name of the organism is Chlamydia trachomatis. Chlamydia trachomatis. Okay. So here you see this organism chlamydia is not a bacteria, not a virus. It is in between bacteria and virus. Why? Because this organism has some features like cell wall and some characters. It's same as bacteria. Okay. Some characters like it is an intracellular parasite. Okay. It don't have ATP synthesis molecules. So some characters same like viruses. So we categorize this neither in the bacterial group or neither in the viral group. It is an in separate group. That is called as chlamydia. Special organism chlamydia. Okay. And the second group of organisms are viruses. So many important viruses, they cause sexually transmitted infections. So here we are studying about genital herpes. Genital herpes is caused by herpes simplex virus. Herpes simplex virus causes herpes. Okay. Genital warts, hepatitis B. Hepatitis, there are different types of hepatitis A, B, C, like this. Okay. So here hepatitis B is a sexually transmitted infection. Whereas if you see hepatitis A, it is a waterborne infection. Okay. So what is hepatitis? Hepa means liver. ITS means inflammation. Inflammation. So inflammation in the liver caused by the bacteria HBV, hepatitis B virus. And third one is the important virus, AIDS virus. That means human immunodeficiency virus, which cause acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, AIDS, a sexually transmitted infection, right? The third group of organisms are fungi. Fungi, importantly, Candida. Candida albicans is the organism which causes STD. Okay. Fourth group of organism, one important protozoa which causes STD is trichomoniasis. Trichomoniasis is the name of the disease and the organism is Trichomonas vaginalis. Trichomonas vaginalis. So look at the name. The name itself shows it lives in the vagina. Okay. So Trichomonas vaginalis is the protozoa. So these are the four different pathogens which causes sexually transmitted infection. Fine. So let us see how they transmitted. Mode of transmission, how the organism get transmitted. So the major mode of transmission is through sexual intercourse. So if sexual intercourse is unprotected, unsafe sexual intercourse, if a partner is infected, either a male or a female is infected, the person who is having sex with the infected person, they will receive this infection. Okay. So they spread through semen, vagina, or some organism even through saliva. So during kissing and all, it spreads through saliva. Okay. So sexual intercourse is the major route of transmission. That's why we call this as sexually transmitted disease. Not only through sexual intercourse, this organism, they also transmit through blood and blood products. Blood and blood products. So in which situations blood and blood products, they act as a source? See here, sharing of injections, needles and surgical equipment. Surgical equipment means, look here, this is the surgical equipment. So this is not a single time disposable equipment. These are made up of high quality stainless steel. So every time after one surgery, it has to be autoclaved, sterilized. Sterilization completely removes all the form of microorganisms, and also it will be UV treated. Okay. So if it is not properly autoclaved or properly sterilized, the blood particles remain on this surgical equipment, may cause the infection if it is used for the next patient. Okay. So surgical equipment is one of the important mode of transmission, but this is highly preventable. And the next one is sharing of injections and needles. So here, look at this picture. When these injections and needles are shared among the people who are drug addicts, so the drug addicts, they inject this drug through the syringes. So they share the needles with their friends. So if one person is having any sexually transmitted infection in his blood, so if he use the syringe, the blood may remain. Even one drop of blood is enough to transmit this infection. Okay. And third one is through the transfusion of blood. So whenever we donate blood, the blood bank, they used to do screening of the blood samples. So what screening they do? They screen whether any sexually transmitted infections or any blood-borne infection or blood-borne disease causing microorganisms are present in the donated blood. So if they find anything positive like hepatitis B, HIV, like this, syphilis, any infection, any agent positive, they won't use the blood, they discard the blood. Okay. So one of the major route of transmission is through the blood and blood products in the transfusion. And fourth one is from an infected mother to the fetus. See, transmission from a mother to the fetus, this is also called as vertical transmission. Vertical transmission. What is vertical transmission? If something vertical transmission is there anything like horizontal transmission is also there? There arises a question, right? Yes. Horizontal transmission is also there. What is horizontal transmission? So if a person is there, okay, so if any disease spreads from one person to another person like this, called horizontal transmission. Airborne infections, anything, all this category comes in horizontal transmission. Okay. Vertical transmission, particularly this terminology refers to if a woman is pregnant, she will be having fetus, right, in her uterus. Okay. So this fetus, suppose. So transmission of any infection from mother to the baby, from mother to the fetus, like this. The transmission is from mother to her fetus. Okay, so this method of transmission is called vertical transmission. So for example, if a father, this is a father, the father is having sexually transmitted infection, and this is the mother, now pregnant mother, okay, having 3 months, 4 months conceived. So if the father is having a sexually transmitted infection, during sexual intercourse, he may transmit the infection to the mother. This is horizontal transmission, right? At the same time, the organism enters the mother's stream, bloodstream, and it spreads from the mother to the baby. So this is a vertical transmission. So many sexually transmitted infections are vertically transmitted. Okay. So let us see what are the problems associated with this sexually transmitted infection. So we know that 4 major groups of organisms, bacteria, fungi, and protozoa, viruses, they cause the infection. Here, bacterial infections, viral infections, protozoal infections can be treated with antibiotics or other medicines if they are diagnosed and properly given medications. Okay, so these infections properly diagnosed at the right time, that means in the early stages of the infection, and if given good treatment, these infections are curable. Which infections? Bacterial, fungal, and protozoal disease. But sexually transmitted infections caused by viruses cannot be treated. Cannot be treated. This is important. So viral causing sexually transmitted infections, there is no treatment. Then what are these antiviral medications are doing? These are used, of course they are used to reduce the symptoms caused by the infection. Okay, they reduce the pain, they reduce some skin symptoms, itching, irritations, like this. These secondary symptoms, they reduce or subside. But we know the characters of the viruses. They are obligate intracellular parasite. Even one virus present in anywhere in one cell, it quickly multiplies and spread the disease. Okay, so that's why virally caused sexually transmitted infections cannot be treated. We don't have medications completely to cure the infections. For example, HIV, we don't have medications, right? So such are the problems caused by the viral infection. Okay, so look at this picture. These are the sexually transmitted disease symptoms caused by the bacteria. See, though they look severe, though they look worrisome, but they are curable if diagnosed properly and given good right time medications. Okay, so let us see what are the symptoms of these sexually transmitted infections. So here, the early symptoms are mostly minor. Minor means they are less diagnosable. Even the patient don't know whether these symptoms are present in their body or not. Okay, that is mostly minor. Okay, so what are the early symptoms? Itching in the genital region, both for male and female. These symptoms includes, okay, fluid discharge, a light pain in the genital region, swelling. So these are the early symptoms. Okay, sometimes if the time lapses, the other symptoms are sores, bumps on the genital area or the rectal area. Painful burning urination. While passing urine, the patient feels pain and also burning sensation. That is a major indication of STD. Okay, unusual or odd smelling vaginal discharge. So see here, this picture, this is a vaginal, this is a genital discharge. This discharge is from penis, this white color pus like fluid, and here this is from vagina. Okay, so this discharge has some smell. Okay, so that is called as unusual or odd smelling vaginal discharge. And in case of female, apart from the menstrual timing, they will have bleeding, unusual vaginal bleeding, and importantly pain during the sexual intercourse. So if these symptoms are present, it could be a sign of the sexually transmitted infection, right? So here the infected females may often be asymptomatic. They remain undetected for a long period of time. See, these sexually transmitted infections have symptoms, but majority of the cases, particularly for the female, they remain asymptomatic. Okay, they remain asymptomatic. No symptoms will be there. So here, many women, they don't have any symptoms in the early stages. So if there is no symptoms, it won't be diagnosed, right? So later the diseases develop further. Okay, so that is a major problem with the sexually transmitted disease, because the absence or less significant symptoms in the early stages of infection is an important reason, because it will be left unattended, right? So another important thing is social stigma attached to the sexually transmitted disease. So see, patients have itching, patients have irritation in the genital region, like that we have seen. So if the itching is there, they don't feel to touch the genital area when they go outside or when they go for office work, like that. Even itching is there, they don't mind it, right? So because of the social stigma, so it deter the infected persons from timely detection and proper treatment. Not only that, if any itching is there, if any pain is there during sexual intercourse, the woman may not feel okay to discuss that issue with the husband, or the husband may not feel to discuss with the wife, like that. When pain is there with this during the sexual intercourse, they think that what other people will think about them. Okay, and if any sores or bumps like there on the skin of the genital region, they don't want to show it to the other persons, that means to the partner or to the doctor, like this. So like this, many social stigma are attached with the sexually transmitted infection. So because of this, the patient won't get timely diagnosis. No timely diagnosis, the treatment won't be there properly. Okay, right. So in case of female, this could lead to complications later in the life. So if these things are not properly diagnosed and attended, the organism multiply more and more, and it causes severe problems, severe complications in the later stage. So what are the complications? Pelvic inflammatory diseases, PID, abortions, stillbirth, ectopic pregnancy, infertility, and uterine cancer. So these are the complications. A woman may have one or more of these complications. Right? So let us see some examples. Pelvic inflammatory diseases, PID. So what is pelvic inflammatory disease? Inflammation in the reproductive organs. So see here, this is a normal ovary, and here this is an inflamed or an enlarged ovary, right? This is called ovarian inflammation, right? And see here, in the endometrium, this region is inflamed, right? Inflammation here in the vagina, so vaginal inflammation. So like this, the inflammation is present in different regions. So because of this, many complication arises. If the woman becomes pregnant, the fetus won't go unfixed in the endometrium, so abortion occurs, stillbirth occurs. So like this, many complications. Okay, and second thing is uterine cancer is a common thing. So what happened here? Cancer occurs in many parts of the reproductive organ. So ovarian cancer, endometrial cancer. Okay, see here, cancer, cervix, this region, cervical cancer, uterine cancer, vaginal cancer. So like this, in many regions of the reproductive organs, cancer occurs. Okay, and third important one is ectopic pregnancy. So what is ectopic pregnancy? The fertilization and implantation occurs, but implantation, the fetus gets implanted in the tube, where it gets implanted mostly in the fallopian tube. Okay, so this is called ectopic pregnancy. The fetus, this is fetus. Fetus is present in the fallopian tube. It should not present in the fallopian tube, right? It should get implanted in the endometrium. So if it is present in the fallopian tube, there is no space for the growing embryo, because the fallopian tube won't enlarge like endometrium, right? So this will result in abortion, like this, many complications. So these are the complications because of the sexually transmitted disease if not diagnosed right time and not given proper care and treatment. Okay. Okay. So here, the sexually transmitted infections are a major threat to the healthy society. See, we have seen previously this reproductive health. The government has taken many steps to improve the reproductive health of the common public, right? So when you see in hospitals or in the primary healthcare centers, you could see many banners explaining about sexually transmitted disease, how to prevent sexually transmitted disease. If you have itching in that area, you consult with the doctors, like this, many banners you could see in the regional language. okay, in the healthcare centers and all. So those things are essential to create awareness among the people. Okay, so if they are unattended, it leads to a big problem, right? So sexually transmitted disease is a major threat to the healthy society, because reproductive health is an important for a society, right? So therefore prevention or early detection and cure of these STDs are of prime concern for the government. So here, who is vulnerable to this infection? People of all the age groups are vulnerable, but most importantly, the people in the reproductive age, that means in the 15 to 24 years, this is the reproductive age, right? So people of this age group are more prone to this infection. But no need to panic, because panic means what? Fear. No need to fear, because prevention is possible. We could able to prevent this infection. Even there is no treatment for viral sexually transmitted infection, it is highly preventable. So if we learn what are the preventive measures, how to protect ourselves from this infection, it won't come. Okay, right. Let us see what are the preventive methods for the sexually transmitted infections. The first one is avoid sex with unknown partners. Prostitution, all this should be not done. Okay, so unknown partners or multiple partners, avoid sex with them. Always try to use condoms during sexual intercourse. Condom is a barrier method of pregnancy birth control. Okay, so condom has dual purpose. One, it prevents pregnancy, and second one, it prevents sexually transmitted infection. Particularly latex condoms, they are highly usage in the reducing STD. Okay, condoms made up of latex are highly useful, and in case of doubt, one should go to a qualified doctor for early detection. This is important. What is qualified doctor? Qualified doctor means people with MBBS or OG, right? So why they mentioned here like this? For example, if you have any itching, irritation, or any sore bump, some abnormal symptoms in the genital area, you should not discuss with your, generally you won't discuss with your friend, or you won't discuss with your mother or like this. Okay, so even if you show it to them, they may not able to diagnose it properly. They don't give you proper guidance. So always better go to a qualified doctor to clarify your doubts, right? Then get a complete treatment diagnosis if it is a real infection. Okay, clear? Let us see what are the laboratory tests to confirm the sexually transmitted diseases. How the labs in the hospitals they diagnose this infection. So in case of bacterial infections, they will take sample. So what sample? They will take sample from the genital region, that is called genital swabs. A pus sample will be taken. Okay, so how it is through it is through a swab. This is a swab. Swab means like we use the earbuds, no, clean our ears. So like this, it will be a bigger size. This is a cotton swab. The doctor will insert the swab in the genital region and collect the pus and transport this to the laboratory. Okay, so in the laboratory, what they do, the first thing they do the staining, gram staining. Gram staining will give the clarification between gram positive bacteria and gram negative bacteria, right? So second one, they do culture on the agar plates. So nutrient agar, blood agar, chocolate agar, and special agars are there for different organisms. So once in the gram staining, if they recognize if it is a gram positive bacteria, they will process the sample according to that gram positive, what are the agars needed for gram positive bacteria. If they diagnose this as a gram negative bacteria, then the technician will process according to gram negative bacteria culture. So the next day on the agar plate, colonies will be developing. So they isolate the colony and again they do gram staining and confirm the organism. So like that, it will take almost 2 to 3 days for the diagnosis of bacterial infection. Okay. So bacterial culture is done through blood sample or genital swab or the samples. And microscopic observation is done using the staining technique. Gram staining, Giemsa staining, dark field microscopic. These are the different staining we use in the lab. And in case of chlamydia and gonorrhea caused by Neisseria, Urine sample may also be collected and urine test will reveal the organisms. Okay, and these are the laboratory tests to confirm the bacterial infections. And even if you see fungal infection, which fungus causes candida, right? So candida we can see in the microscope. So beautifully gram positive organism will be there. And protozoa, trichomonas also, vaginalis also we could see in the microscopy. Okay, so these are the methods to confirm the infections in case of bacteria, fungus and viruses. But if the infection is caused by virus, how can we do? We cannot do culture, we cannot do staining for the viruses. So the method of diagnosis for the viruses are serological test. Serological test means antigen antibody test. So what is antigen antibody test? How we do this? Collect the patient blood sample, put it in a test tube and centrifuge. When you centrifuge, it gets deposited according to the weight. RBCs are in the bottom region and above that WBCs, and here is the Buffy code, and the top region contains the plasma, the liquid portion of the blood. So plasma contains antibodies. So if the patient is infected, naturally the immune system tries to kill the positive agent, right? So that time they produce antibodies. So those antibodies will be present in the plasma. So what we do, we collect the antibodies and test this with the antigen, known antigen from the laboratory test kit, right? So these are the antigen antibody reactions. Antigen antibody reactions, anything just done with antigen antibody are called as serological diagnostic method. So one example for this is ELISA, enzyme linked immunosorbent as ELISA, right? And the next one is to diagnose the viral load, how many viruses are present. Like this, we use molecular technique called PCR, polymerase chain reactions. So these are the main thing we do for virus samples. Okay, right? So I hope this introduction part for sexually transmitted disease is clear for you. And from the next lesson, we will start the bacterial sexually transmitted infection. So if you like this lecture, like, share and subscribe to our channel, NEET Biology Expert. Thank you.